Now you can start.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jim Beggins here, and it's Real Beach Talks. We didn't have any for the last couple of weeks, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and now a commercial. Presenting Beggins strips, and presenting Clay.
Clay, whoop whoop. He
and
loves
presenting
these.
Jessica Beggins.
Happened to be our last name.
Hi, Jess.
Dog treats. Hi.
And Jonathan Scott, our videographer. All right, so what we're going to do today, we've entitled this talk, What the Hell's a Millennial Going to Do to Develop a Career in Real Estate?
It's a good question.
And that be you, a millennial, my granddaughter. And we have a plan. So first of all, Jess, a little bit about your background for the last 25 years.
This is what I wanted to ask you first. So if anyone's on and you want to hear the history of Beggins, let us know.
No, we are going to hear from Jessica because I have to learn about millennials.
So the history of real estate for me.
And millennials, you're the perfect millennial because instead of kids, you have Clay.
Yes. And millennials, we're all buying houses for our dogs now. So.
Oh, you are?
Yep. So this year the goal is to buy a house because Clay needs a backyard. Right?
That is your goal.
Yes.
Isn't it? To buy your first house this year.
It is.
So background, you grew up in Apollo Beach.
Yep.
Right?
The daughter of a real estate broker. And I went to college not thinking I was going to be in real estate at all. So I graduated with an event management degree from the Rosen College of Hospitality.
It was called what? An event?
Called event management.
Is that like an event planner?
Yes.
Like you plan parties?
What
Yep.
a perfect term for a real estate agent.
Rad.
An event planner.
It is actually.
Okay.
Isn't it?
So why did you pick that career?
I think it had a lot to do with wanting to be around people, and it's fun and colorful and happy. And
So that must have something to do with your personality. You're an outgoing people person.
yes.
Right?
Yep.
So that's great for real estate.
It has been so far.
So then what happened?
Then
You got that degree?
I started working in the hospitality field, and the
Did
hours
you get a degree
are
doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
4-year degree.
A 4-year degree, event management. And the hours are not nice. And I grew up in a family of real estate, so I'm used to the flexibility, and my family never worked holidays, never worked, we always got to go on vacation in the summers, and
Wait a
I
minute.
grew up
Your
spoiled.
dad, who's my boss,
Yes.
says always work holidays and weekends and stuff. So he never worked those?
No, he never worked those.
Oh, so we just busted him, didn't we?
Yeah. Is he watching? Uh-oh. So when I had to work all those holidays, I didn't like it very much.
So they ever
Just-
put you on the night shift on the front desk or any of that stuff?
Luckily, I never did the night shift at the front desk, but I was working till 11 o'clock or midnight. And then when I was serving, I would get home at 3:30 in the morning. So that was not fun. And I wanted a life like how I grew up. So I called up my dad and I said, all right, Dad, I'm ready to get my real estate license. And so I started taking the test, the real estate exam. I started, training for it and everything while I was still in college. And then I graduated, and a month later I took the exam and got my real estate license.
So you were 22, 23?
Yes, I was 22.
22.
Yep, it was 2015. September 2015 is when I got my real estate license, and I
And
graduated in August.
When you were working in the hotel business, it was in Orlando, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then you moved over here.
Mm-hmm.
And was that scary, getting in a new career?
Yes, it was really scary. I had no idea what I was doing. I've never bought a house before. I still haven't.
Yeah.
So my confidence when I started was really low, but my whole family has done real estate. So people laugh at me and they say, well, if you ever cut yourself, you'd bleed and little houses would fall out. So I think you got this.
Nice.
So how'd you get started?
Oh, how did I get started? I had to cold call. That's how I got started. I got my first listing actually from door knocking, and it was a short sale. and it didn't sell, but I used that listing to do just listed phone calls in the neighborhood, and I got a listing right across the street. And I sold her house, and I bought her a condo up in Temple Terrace, and that was my first deal.
Wait, so that was a couple of deals
Yes.
from your first deal.
Yeah, I guess it was.
And it started out by calling on the telephone.
Yes.
Huh. So why don't you do that anymore?
I know. Okay, so this past week, this is a new thing. I've made maybe 45 contacts in the first week in the new year. So it's not 100, but it's better than I was doing in December, that's for sure. So I know you're thinking about how millennials get their business, but probably not a lot has changed.
Well, what do you think the difference in mindset of millennials and, well, your dad's 50.
Yep.
I'm 74. So we got, and you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 3 distinct generations here. And we all talk about how millennials are a certain way.
Right.
What's a millennial and what do they do and why are they different than what your dad does or what your granddad does?
I'd say the biggest difference in millennials is going to be the technology. Things like this, the video. But then again, you're in your 70s and you're doing videos, so I think you're pretty on top of it.
Yeah, but we got a videographer here, so if I mess up, he can cover me.
I'd say technology is the biggest thing. So when you started, you were doing newspapers with Property Wizards.
Yeah.
And my goal this year is to make the Property Wizard digital. So I'm not going to be delivering it to people's doors. I'm going to target market a specific neighborhood online.
Okay, so you mentioned when I invited you on this show to what were we going to do? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, we never decide until about 3:59.
Right.
But I just asked you about what millennials do that are different than your dad's generation or my generation. And we basically do the same thing, mm-hmm. only the millennials use technology. And because we don't understand technology as much as you do, we make fun of it and say millennials are flakes and, you know.
Right. They're always on their phones.
So what if we could take 3 generations and put them together and do what 3 generations did and reinvent the real estate industry? That'd be fun.
I like it. Yep.
So Jonathan is a full-time videographer with us. Mm-hmm. So if we go back to my generation, we used to scribble in crayons on rocks and hand rocks out to people in a subdivision and say, you want to sell your house. And now in your thing, we do Facebook ads and Facebook videos and that type of thing.
Yep.
And now we have Jonathan do professional videos. How'd you get started? I mean, you're not a millennial. You're a little bit older.
Well, my wife tells me that I'm a millennial.
Yeah, well, you act like one.
I was under the impression that I was Generation X, I think.
Okay.
But I think I slipped right under the curve.
How old
there.
are you?
I'm 30. I'm turning 31 tomorrow.
Okay. So tomorrow.
You're a millennial.
Yeah.
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 Not that I don't identify as one, but it's okay.
Okay, so I'm sure when you were in high school, you didn't say, hey, I'm going to be working full-time for a real estate company doing videos.
In high school, I did say that I wanted to do videos.
You did.
So, I think that goes back to one of our older podcasts when we talked about setting goals for ourselves and my Thanksgiving thing that I used to do with my family. And but at the time, it never resonated as a reality. It's something that I really wanted to do, but I didn't know exactly how or why I was going to do it.
Did you have a camera in high school and go and take pictures of everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did they have phones that had cameras back then?
No. I remember taking my mom's like Nokia, like those brick phones you could like kill somebody with. Yeah. Like those. I remember taking that to school and being like, I'm cool. I have a phone, even though it was my mom's kind of thing. But no, I don't think it had a camera on it. And if it did, it probably had like 2 pixels on it or something like that.
So then what happened? Go to college?
So I went to college. And the time during high school, I was actually working for a production company that worked for HBO, and our main niche was all of the pay-per-view fights. And our company would go and film the interviews with the boxers and their trainers and all the sports writers and stuff like that. So I got my first hand in high production. And I just fell in love with it. I thought it was amazing. Of course, I was in the back end because I didn't have any solid experience. But it was a huge learning process. And I realized that the only way to move forward is to gain experience. So basically, long story short, the quickest way I got here was I did a crap ton of free stuff for people. I just made videos because I love doing it. One of my favorite things to do is make somebody look good in front of the camera and make them feel happy and good about themselves. And that became my passion. So how I did it didn't really matter to me. The whole thing was, how do you tell a story through a camera, no matter what angle you do it in?
Interesting. So we got a 25-year-old and we got a 30-year-old, 31-year-old, and you got an old man who did stuff that I think we can copy it and do it better than we used to do it, to where we can do better than anybody else in real estate. So in order to do that, I wrote down 5 steps. Before the 5 steps, I wrote that the main value of a real estate agent is their ability to gather and transmit knowledge to customers. So as we were talking outside, if you live in Indian Rocks Beach and you need help, now really most people don't need help right now because prices are going up or we're going up, and you don't really need a real estate agent if you don't want one and stuff like that. But when things go the other way, you really need help. So gathering and transmitting knowledge is all important. And what we did when real estate started a long time ago, and there were the nomads in the desert and Omar the tent maker, when people would wander around the desert and they'd come into a town, and Omar the tent maker was the guy in the middle of town that people would go to and say, where do I find a tent for the night? And where do I go to get some rice and meat and all that stuff? And Omar would know where everything was.
Right.
And so we fast forward 3,000 years, and Omar the tent maker in Indian Rocks Beach is Omar the real estate broker in Indian Rocks Beach that knows everything there is to know about it. Mm-hmm. Now, if we look at technology and we look at focus, technology and focus are opposites because there's so much technology that unfocuses us. If we were able to focus, you could use technology and knock it out of the park. So this is Real Beach Talks, and I'm a beach guy. I don't know, nor do I care about most real estate off the beaches. Right. I never want to wear shoes, and I always want to be on the sand. Okay. And when I die, I want to be put in the Gulf of Mexico at night and all that stuff. Okay. So step 1, you make a video, and we'll take St. Pete Beach because this is where we are. You make a video of St. Pete Beach. Mm-hmm. We have a boat. We take a 2-hour tour around St. Pete Beach. And I say the barrier islands because this is a real beach talk. There's 19 little communities. We can take the boat around all 19 communities and then cut them off as one of each community, right? Mm-hmm. And then we can speed up the film so you see the whole community in under 2 minutes, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now we take Jessica and we give her that video. And she is able to take that video and put it on her Facebook page or whatever Mike Puma says to do with it to get it around to her area. Let's say that you are in the St. Pete Beach office. Okay. So now you got a video of St. Pete Beach. Mm-hmm. It now goes to everybody that you know in St. Pete Beach, but everyone that you talk to, you're going to say, go on my video and look at what I got in St. Pete Beach. Right. So if one of your customers lives on St. Pete Beach, they're going to look at your video, and if it's good, which can they slow it down from the from the real fast video?
Oh, sure. I mean, you can find a point in any frame and just pause it.
Okay. So now if I live in St. Pete Beach, I'm going to send it to my daughter or my cousin or whatever, and they're going to send it to other people. Okay. So that's what you do. And I don't know how we charge the agents, or if we do, or say it's free. It's free. All right. If you want that video, you have to agree that step 2 is that you're going to make a weekly video. And that video has to be 1 minute to 2 minutes long, and it has to be on St. Pete Beach, and we'll call it a FAB video. Features, advantages, and benefits of St. Pete Beach.
Okay.
Now, what are some of the things you could think of a feature, advantage, or benefit of a city along the Gulf of Mexico?
Restaurants.
Restaurants.
Watching sunset.
Watching sunsets.
Oh, gosh. I mean, vacation in
Vacation.
general, whether you want a vacation rental or you want to live here.
Okay, let's say no real big advertising, no self-promotion. It's gathering and transmitting. Omar, the tent maker, didn't really sell his tents. He wanted to make sure that he was the go-to person
Right.
in Omar land. So you have clay, and you bring clay out on
You have any dog
dog
trails on the
parks.
beaches?
Well, you find out. Are there dog parks? Right? And marinas. And where do you get gasoline for your boat?
You're gonna say,
And now a commercial. Beggins Street strips.
you'll say night
Give
night.
Clay a Beggins strip, and we'll keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so would you, if Jonathan will do a professional video,
Yep.
and make it available so your picture comes on the end of it, and or at the beginning and says compliments of Jessica. All right, will you agree to just on a quarterly basis?
So each week would
Each
highlight
week,
something different.
You have to turn in a feature, advantage, benefit video on your area. And I'm using St. Pete Beach because we're sitting here.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Will you do that?
Yes.
So 3 months, January, February, March, that's 12 weeks, 12 videos.
Yep.
Now, each video is going to be on a different thing, and they're not going to be professional, but you teach them some of the professional things.
Of course.
Right? Try not to pick your nose during the video. Right?
If you can help it.
If you can help it. All
You
right.
can always
So
edit that out later.
that's number 2
Don't pick your nose.
is the weekly video.
Yep.
Number 3 is post listings and sales that you have, because after 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to get a listing and you're going to get a sale. So you may go out and interview the restaurant guy and say, by the way, this is Joe that has the pizza place, but I just got this great listing down on 55th Avenue and it's $2.2 million.
Right.
If you want to find out, just let me know. Okay.
Yep.
So now we got the video that's still going out when a new guy comes in from Toronto, like we have a guest here today. We send him the video on St. Pete Beach. If he wants to go to Indian Rocks Beach, we call our agent that's up there and say, hey, send this guy a video, or send it to me and I'll give it to you. I'll do a referral or whatever. So you're posting your listing and sales, and in a couple of weeks or a month or so, you're going to get that. Then the quarterly, Jonathan comes back in and he does a quarterly update. What's happened in St. Pete Beach over the last quarter? Well, there's a new hotel that started. There's a new condo. Look at this beautiful $4 million house that's now under construction. So now we got a professional one to start your career off. We got a professional one at the end of the quarter. And we have a bunch of personable ones that people get to know Jessica over the next quarter.
12 weeks. Yep.
All right. That is exactly what we did to build Beggins Enterprises. That's exactly what we did to build Century 21. It's exactly what Remax did to build their company. And it's exactly what the gas station or the 7-Eleven does in their local area. They get to be known as the go-to people.
Right.
So what is that farming?
Yes. I think so.
Okay, so would it work?
Yes. Jonathan actually just made a video for one of our Tampa agents in an area called Ballast Point specifically, and it highlights different features as reasons to move there, what you can do. So going more in depth and doing a different video on that every week with a different highlight, I think would be a really cool idea to keep
Okay,
people
well,
interested.
let's take you, because I've watched your video. They're very professional. They're good. Talked to you a couple of weeks ago, and you stopped doing them.
Yes,
Never mind.
I did.
Catch 22 to that one.
Okay,
I
so
did.
what happens if Jonathan gives you that free video on whatever your area that you're going to take is? What area would you take?
I was actually talking with John Lum about it in the office the other day, and I was going to do the little West Shore area around Gandy.
Okay, what do you call that area? The little West Shore area around Gandy?
As of right now, yep, we'll put a title to it in a little bit.
Okay, a plug for the beaches. I'm not that smart. So with 19 little towns along the beaches, I can call each one a name, and it's got a boundary.
Right.
So I can do it a lot easier. St. Pete Beach is this, but St. Pete Beach has Pass-a-Grille too. So we're going to do Pass-a-Grille.
We can call it the West Shore Marina District, I guess. That's what they're building.
Perfect. Well, you can label it whatever you want. So call it the West Shore Marina District.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't have to go. I guess we take the boat there and take a video of the marina, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're building a huge, it's going to be 3 towers of condos and townhomes, and they're going to have retail and walking trails. It's right there, but then right next to it are a bunch of tiny little houses that are all going to be renovated soon, and there's going to be new families moving in, and that's where I want to buy a house.
So let's say that one of the agents in your South Tampa office has a client for that area,
Mhm.
and you have taken that area and you have done videos for 2 months. He did a master video, and you've done 8 videos on that thing.
Mhm.
And I'm an agent in your office, and I have a client that wants to buy there. And I go, Jess, would you let me have your video, or would you send it to my client?
Is this a trick question?
No, no. I'll tell you why it's a trick question, because the first thing that's going in your mind is he going to steal my customer?
Right.
Well, what would happen if everybody in your office had an area?
Right.
And that area, and you all shared them, as far as if you had a client that wanted that area, you can take that.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm any good, my client's not going to leave me. And if I provide them more information by you being my go-to person, you let me use your video and the pizza video and all the other stuff, you and I are going to be working together, not necessarily sharing commissions, but we could if we wanted to.
Right.
But right now, you're going to eventually put a fence around the South Tampa office, and you're going to have a whole bunch of agents that have identified what's happening in all of South Tampa.
Right.
So if Smith and Associates wants to come into your area, they have to do all this stuff.
Right.
You know from experience that you did it well. Everyone complimented you on your videos, and you stopped doing the damn thing.
I did. I stopped.
And then I expect, when you got your little puppy, I said, you know what? Maybe you're all burned out. Let's bring the puppy in.
He's a lot of work, this little guy. This is part of the reason I stopped the videos. But I would say the other reason I stopped is because I was doing them. What I felt, I started around March doing social media stuff, and I didn't see any income from it, so I stopped. And I know that that's wrong, because you're gearing up for more, and I just turned off the hose.
Can you think of a movie star you know?
A movie star?
Yeah, anyone that you really like.
Johnny Depp's fun. Pirates
Johnny
of the
Depp.
Caribbean.
Okay. Do you think Johnny Depp, after he made 4 videos, was super successful, and he said, shit, I don't have to do that anymore?
I know. No.
How many videos have you made, Johnny? I mean, Jessica.
I was making a video a week for a good couple of months.
So that would be 8.
I've got probably at least 15 videos in my YouTube library right now. I should have more than that. I've done more than 15 videos.
Okay.
I don't know the number.
How many
That's
of
awful.
those could you put a title
6?
on that would help?
That's all I have?
6 videos.
I've done more than 6 videos
6?
for sure.
I think,
6?
but yeah, on our channel, there's 6 videos, and they're all awesome. Like they all look like they're professionally shot. I think a lot of people are probably that have watched those videos, especially on Facebook, are like, where to go?
I
Actually,
wonder where
most
she
people
is.
I
She was
talk
so
to
good.
Say, I haven't seen you in a while. Thanks. Ah.
Okay, so why did I say bring the dog?
Because he's cute. He gets lots of views.
Well, bring him up here so people can see him.
He's already napping.
How many people do we have watching us? You guys want to see Clay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody want to see Clay?
He's sleeping.
Wake him up.
Wake him up. This is what Grandpa says. It's because he doesn't have to go home with them. The cranky puppy. Come here. You want to say hi?
Okay, comment on this thing because I oversimplified something that is going to be really a lot of moving parts for us to do as a company.
I think that
But it'll give you longevity. I mean, you'd be here till you're 80.
I think that the importance of creating these videos is kind of what Mike has been preaching for the longest time is billboards and bench ads. Like, of course, those are still there and around, but people aren't paying attention to that. I think I remember this really funny video that I have of Mike at Beggins U saying, like, if somebody's driving a car, they're not doing this at a billboard or a bench sign. They're doing this as they're driving because they're not even looking at it. So like everything's here. And with the quality that people are able to pack into these little devices is just it's awesome. It's amazing. So to be able to have that ability to put yourself in front of other people continuously, not only are you building your brand, but your face is now like an actor. You're like that's your moneymaker, right? And then the
People
value
start
that you hold
recognizing
behind them. Yeah, exactly. Because I think Mike said a while ago in one of our videos over on BE3 and the BE3 channel that he's gone to the gym multiple times. He's done specific demographic ads to a very specific area, and people walk into the gym and say, "Hey, I saw your video," and I think he did a couple of them, and now that there's a connection right there, and that was based easily off of him just doing this and clicking a button. So to be able to utilize what Century 21 Beggins has and being able to make these eye-catching videos, which is something that I love to do for you guys, will just grab hold of clients and not let go.
All right, can we put Jessica on the line and make her commit to people that are watching?
Do it. I'm
Okay.
ready to start again.
All right, so we're going to call the place that you're working the Marina District or whatever
We
you
can
want to
call
call
it
it.
Sunbay South.
What do you call it?
Sunbay South.
Sunbay South.
That's what Devin Garber says is its official name.
Okay, and how many residences are there in this?
That's a good question.
And what's the average size
Hundreds.
lot? And what are the different types of property there? And how many condos are there? And how many hotels? And how many restaurants are there? And what's the average age of the population there? And how long have they lived there on average?
Yep.
Now, you don't want to do a video and rattle all that stuff off, but every time you do a video, if you say a couple of those things, you say, man, look at that 25-year-old knowing all this stuff.
Right.
All right. So if Jonathan were to make the master video for you, would you sign something that says if you don't do a video every week, that you sign that master video back to him after a quarter and he gives it to someone else, sells it to someone else?
Yeah.
You would do that?
I would do that.
Okay. So how would you
If
start?
I'm not going to use it
How would
properly,
you
hopefully
start number
someone else
one,
will.
which means video on whatever that area is called?
That area doesn't have well, I mean, it will eventually, but there's not a lot of restaurants. And I mean, it's just, it would mostly be a farm for houses. So if we're doing farming for restaurants and things to do, I'd probably pick a different location.
Well, you're not selling restaurants, you're selling houses. So what if
Right.
it was strictly a residential area?
It could be, I mean, distance to St. Pete. You're right in the middle of downtown Tampa and downtown St. Pete. If you want to do distance, but there's really nothing else there but houses.
Well, then why would you take that area?
Mm.
Because you sell
you can still
houses.
sell the lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, I mean, to be, yeah, Ballast Point had some restaurants and like a park, historic park and areas. But when we make these videos, it's not just the area, but you're also selling the lifestyle within the area.
Mm-hmm.
So, like he said, it's all about coming up with all of the information that you can possibly gather. And even those curveballs, like he just said, like
Right.
what's the average size lots? Like knowing that right off the top of your head
Right.
shows people, especially being consistent, will show people that you are the it person for that spot.
Yep.
And you own that area.
That's what I want.
Well, okay, so pick an area that you want 5 years from now.
Right.
Because imagine doing this for 5 years. What percentage of this area you think you'll own?
Hopefully, all of it. I'd want to live there too. If we're talking 5 years.
Generally,
in a different
if
neighborhood.
you control 1 out of 3 of the listings in any area, you're a go-to person. And the reason we came up with that is that when you build new houses in an area, you have to build new roads for them. And they generally figure about 4 trips a day in and out of a house. So if there's 50 listings in an area and you have a third of them,
Mm-hmm.
and people are making 4 trips in and out of that area every day on an average, that means the impressions of your sign are 4 times 1/3 of those properties.
Right.
And that will generate more business just because you focused all your area on one business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that you've been focusing on a whole bunch of stuff,
Yeah. I'm a
which
little
means
bit of
nothing.
everywhere.
When you focus on a whole bunch of stuff, you really focus on nothing. You
Yep.
just do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes. Keeps me very busy. But I can tell you about New Tampa and Riverview and South Tampa and Apollo Beach and Sun City Center and St. Pete.
But you can't tell.
I can't tell you what the demographics are.
You can tell me
where the
about
restaurants are.
Madeira Beach where I live, but you can't tell me anywhere near what I know about where I live. So
Right.
if you come and try to get a listing from me,
I
and
don't
they're
want the sellers
serious,
to be smarter than me.
right? So think about it. So as a millennial, I've done a lot of different things in my life, and real estate is the easiest because I don't have to work on weekends. I don't have to work nights.
Right.
And I can make a lot of money, and I get paid exactly what I'm worth. If I do nothing, I get paid nothing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So what a great job. And when the market changes, when the market gets bad, it's an industry where all the mediocre agents get out of the business quicker than the market goes down. So there's more business for somebody that engages.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have a market that goes down. So pick an area.
Right.
So could we make Jessica a test area for this concept? Or do you think this concept would work?
I think, well, we had a lot of fun. I don't know, did you ever post that other video?
I watched Kate's. I didn't post it.
No, our other video, the White Tampa Bay one that we did.
Oh, from the brewery?
Yeah.
I didn't post that one. I don't think we made it work. I don't think I have that video, but we'll figure it out later. But yes, I would.
Because that's like, I think working with her originally on that one, like, will be super easy. And just because of that fact, it'll be a game changer for her business.
So you already got a video.
We have
it's
one.
Yeah, it's not niched specifically to that area, but it is speaking to a very specific demographic.
Well, let's address that, because there's going to be most of our agents that don't engage in this. all
Right.
But to make a video that's no more than 2 minutes long on Hillsborough County and give it to all the agents if they work in Hillsborough County, or one on Pinellas, and then start big and then chunk down to the local area. So everybody gets the video on Hillsborough. And if they want to send it out to all their buddies, they can do that. Doesn't cost them anything.
Right.
But people like yourself that says, I want to focus on an area because I want to build a great career, then you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Can we
I
do
like
that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's it'll be a lot of fun to especially for you, because in a way, we've been talking a long time about niche marketing and expanding your knowledge, and how much knowledge you will actually be able to gain solely on the fact of our creative process.
Mhm.
We're trying to figure out like, oh, how can we make this interesting visually? How can we make this interesting auditory? And I think that hopefully this will change a lot of people's minds about moving forward with using video and social media and all that stuff.
Right.
Plus, I think in the future it'll be a lot easier for agents as well, because I had told a lot of our agents as well that I'm going to be making a video on how to film yourself, and that should be a lot of fun for you guys as well too.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, and so if you give them a freebie,
I'll give them the tools. I mean,
yeah, you give them a freebie, but they have to pay you back by doing a weekly video, because that's the thing. It's so easy not to do it. So, to what you're talking about with Mike, we have an auction coming up on Saturday.
Okay.
And what we've been talking about is the seller invests 0.5% of what the property's worth that we use as promotion. And the other auctioneer and myself are talking about what they used to do and put ads in the paper, right?
Yep.
So we have $6,000 to spend to get people to this Saturday auction. And Mike has been spending money on Facebook ads, targeted Facebook ads. And we were putting together ads to put in the Tampa Tribune, little auction to be held, which is the way they did auctions for years.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, we decided that with this one, because the seller is really into social media and stuff, we said, let's not do the newspaper ads.
Mm-hmm.
Let's direct it, because Mike said, I can take that $400 that you're going to spend on an ad, and I can spend $18 and get more for it.
Yeah.
So we said, go ahead and do that. So every day we're getting a bunch of things that says, hey, I just got 2 leads from horse farms, because this happens to be 4 acres of land out in the horse country.
Okay.
Or I got 3 different leads today from retirees that want to move out of Pinellas County up to whatever. And I got this, that. So we're now targeting, for very little money, farms of people that are not really geographical farms like the area you're talking about. But
Right.
once you have a property in that farm that you're talking about, then you can target people that might want to live in that farm. They're all over the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the way Mike knows how to do it, he can do it inexpensively.
Right. Contacts is big, really, really big. I mean, we went on a boat ride. I don't know how long, it was like a couple months ago, right?
Mhm.
And we were just driving down the intercoastal, and we had talked about, on one street specifically, and there was probably a $2-3 million mansion, and then like a $300,000 house right next door, and then a blank lot, and then a $1 million house with a like a beach instead of a seawall. So all these little niches within one niche, within another niche, bringing all that information and being able to regurgitate that out to clients and in that specific fashion, you can spit this out to get demographics all over the place as much as you want. So like if you're saying $1 million house, but they want a seawall, then you would send it out to, whoever $1 million house for the seawall,
Mhm.
or $1 million house with a beach. And then you can just send it out to all the people at the beach, or $1 million house. You just send it out to anybody interested in a $1 million house.
Well, we have a guest here from Toronto that made a comment before that said, I really don't like that one area because there's too many old crappy houses around that.
Mhm.
So to your point, when we took the boat out and we took the boat next to a $2 million house, next to that was a crack house for $200,000. Next to that was a lot with laundry hanging off the outside the kitchen.
I believe it.
And, but you're looking at the whole view, and actually the ones with all the crappy houses, and the older the house, the quicker that, neighborhood is going to change because the old ones are cheap,
Yeah.
right?
Someone's
So
gonna
if
come
you
and
know
snatch them.
that about here, it's not like if you're in Toronto and you got a neighborhood that's crummy, that neighborhood's probably going to be crummy for a while. It's not that you have this expensive property, land underneath the property
Mhm.
that is going to change. You're going to, when you're in beach properties, like right now, our beach properties are $30,000 a front foot for land on the sand. The last downturn, it was 15,000 a front foot.
Wow.
The next downturn, it ain't going to go down to 15,000 a front foot. May go down to 20,000 a front foot, and then when it comes up again, it'll be 50,000 a front foot because it's a lot more than that in Miami right now.
Oh, that. Yeah.
So, I mean, working in an area, knowing about that area, and being able to communicate what you know to the people that live in that area is great.
Mhm.
You wanting to live in the area that you work is a great idea
Mhm.
because you're kind of forced into knowing it because you got to know what the best grocery store is and the best 7-Eleven and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, so what did you learn
That's
today?
the goal. Learned that I'm being held accountable by a lot of people right now, and you're gonna be seeing a lot more videos from me.
Yeah. So
And we're gonna narrow down in one area, and it's gonna be like you live there.
so how do we put Jonathan on the?
I gotta put you on my schedule. You're a busy guy.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Well, you're saying you already got a video that we could use overall for her, and if she picks an area out, is there an area that you could pick that has a geographical place like Harbor Island?
Right.
Harbor Island is surrounded by water, so when you get your feet wet, you're out of your farm.
Right.
Some of these other farms you got to look out for because you go across the street, and what street are you on? And
Right. I have an appointment on Harbor Island tomorrow, so everybody keep your fingers crossed for me.
well, why don't you look at Harbor Island and see how many residents there are there,
Right.
and what the average price is.
Yep.
And the average price is probably 8 or 10 times more than the average price in Hillsborough County. That means you have to make 1/10 of the sales to make the same amount of money that you make in the rest of
Right.
Hillsborough County.
Which is what Jeff's been telling me to do since the day I started real
Well, I
estate.
don't know what happened when we go to college and we have math and we don't know that $100,000 house or $1 million house, which one is more expensive?
Right.
Number one. If you're making same percentage on 100,000 as $1 million, which percentage, if they're the same percentage, gets you more dollars, $1 million house or $100,000 house?
$1 million house.
Why are you
I
playing with
know.
$100,000 houses?
It's everyone I
Are
know
the
can
people
afford $100,000 houses.
nastier that own $1 million house than own $100,000?
No, they're
house?
not. My $1 million listing was one of the coolest sellers ever. So
I mean, if I
I
live
should
in a
just go
$100,000 house,
only
I'm not as
$1 million.
happy as if I live in $1 million house. I don't think.
yeah, no, they're happy. They're nice.
Okay, so where are you going to pick? Or do you think you need to think about it?
No, I'll pick an expensive neighborhood, and all of you are now holding me accountable.
What do you want the average price in that neighborhood to be?
800,000.
800,000 average price?
You don't think that's high enough?
No, I don't think you're going to find that high. I mean, if you find, you're not going to find average prices unless you go to Avila or somewhere like that with a gate.
Like 650. You could definitely find a 650
You
in
probably
South
could.
Tampa. Mm-hmm.
And then how many houses do you want there to be?
If I'm geo-targeting in within a mile, I was looking at it yesterday, I'd probably hit at least 400 homes.
Now, this is a good thing to talk about. An average farm used to be about 200 homes,
Right.
all right? Because we figured that
gotta
you
go
could get to
knock
know
off.
200 people, over a few months.
Right.
And then constantly go in that neighborhood and ride your bike or take your dog or whatever. But now with social media, you can know a lot more people, right?
Mhm.
Because you can target them.
Mm-hmm.
So how big an area should we take? And I don't think we can make them exclusive. So, and once this catches on, a Remax agent is going to say, hey, how did Jessica be so successful? They're going to look at your videos and they're going to copy them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to put Remax on.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But
they're probably going to live in the area that I'm targeting.
Yeah.
And they're going to see it.
And you're going to teach them how to do it. And maybe that's what's happening with millennials, because they can learn so quickly by seeing what other people do that's successful.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to do it quick, and you got to do it over and over again and well. And once you first to market is always the most successful.
Yeah.
There used to be a company called Avis Rent-A-Car, and their slogan was, "We try harder." Right? Because Hertz Rent-A-Car was the number one. But Avis wanted to catch up, so their slogan was, "We try harder." I don't even know if they're around still.
I've heard of them.
I think so.
I think they are.
So
I've heard of them.
what's your part
And what?
in this endeavor? We're going to do a prototype, and we're going to do it with Jessica.
Okay.
Only if Jessica agrees to make a video. Now it's the second week in January, so you got to do a video for every week until the end of March. And then we meet again and we see how you did on a beach talk.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
So if you
Plan
take
for the
another
first
week
week.
before you do your first video, then you owe 3 videos.
Right.
So you got to
Okay,
have,
so you're saying I owe 2 videos this week.
yes, you do.
Okay.
And Jonathan is going,
I have a lot of time for that, Jonathan, don't you?
Jonathan's going to give you the first video, which is the one that you were talking about that you already made, if you want to use that.
Does that count?
It'll count.
It's in St. Pete. What we did was in St. Pete. It was at the, what's it called?
Yeah, it was a craft beer event that 97X put on that a friend of mine was very helpful in letting us come in and film.
That probably won't work. A craft beer thing for us alcoholics, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
No. I think it's a timeline thing. So let's do it that way. So you said every week of the month until the end of quarter one, right?
I'm saying that you're spending your time to dedicate your time to an agent that wants to focus on St. Pete Beach or whatever.
Okay.
And you're going to give them a video and a space on that video for them to identify with that video and send it to people.
So I'll
But-
just do the same thing that I did with Kate.
But for that, Kate or whoever has to agree to do a local video in that area every week for a quarter. Then at the end of the quarter, you're going to give them a free update of that area.
Mhm.
If they've done one for every quarter, for every
You'll
week.
So
take
I have
our
to-
footage and
I
put it
have to
together.
keep you accountable then.
Yes.
Okay.
Or else you're
I
going
have
to sell that.
equipment.
You're
I
going to
could
sell
make
that
these
thing to the
videos.
next guy.
I've got equipment and can make the videos so that you don't have to follow me around with the camera every week.
No.
And maybe I can give them to him.
You have the equipment right here, and
Right.
this is Jessica, and this is Jonathan, and Jonathan owns this massage place, and
Right.
the massages are introductory, $50 for an hour, and how long you been in business, Jonathan? Great, thank you very much. This is Jessica. Goodbye. See you next week.
It's actually something very similar to what John Lum wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um,
This is in my primary aim. Remember when I wrote my 5-year primary aim?
Yeah, I know.
And what I wanted my real estate career to be in 5 years was to be the real estate expert in one area and have done that by having an entire library full of interviewing.
Okay, Jessica
businesses
Beggins
all
is now
over
going to
the
tell us
YouTube
exactly what she's.
Yeah.
She's going to tell us exactly what she's going to do during the next quarter between now and March 31st. So
Am I also
everybody's-
supposed to make my 100 contacts a week?
I don't know any of this other stuff. I'm telling you how to farm as a
Okay.
millennial.
Okay.
What are
I'm
you going
making
to
a
do?
video.
are you worried about the?
People wanting to be on camera?
Yeah.
Yes, because are the business owners going to want to be on camera with me?
So here's something. So I talked to Sarah today. She reached out to me about a condo building across the street from Madeira Beach, and she literally went out like 5 or 10 minutes right after we talked, and she did what Mike has been preaching forever. Took her phone and stood in front of the condo and made a video. She made another video right behind that. She basically did this like pylon and then turned around this way. And on this side, there was a group of guys that were running a gas line to the pool to heat the pool up more. And he said she made a video about that. So I don't think technically we need to go in and do the businesses, even though that would be very beneficial for you to get your face out there. But if you're making videos, just standing on the sidewalk in front of a restaurant and talking about it, that'll be good enough, I think.
Because people will see the restaurant in the background and be like, oh, I've been there before, and they'll stop and watch.
Agreed.
For at least 3
or
to 5
I've always
seconds.
wanted to go there. Same kind of aspect.
So let me tell you a story about the particular condo that he's talking about, because you mentioned that before the beach talk. We had an agent that was selling a bunch of stuff downtown for very little money. And I said to that agent, why don't you go across the street to that building and go tell everybody in that building about the building?
Right.
And she said, how do I get there? And I said, go over to that sign right on Gulf Boulevard and push the button. And when it says walk, go across there. Well, there's a lock on the door. What do I do? Well, you walk around until you find a guy that smells bad and looks bad, and that's the maintenance man. And you tell him that you're a real estate agent and that you want to work in this building taking care of the people in the building. And he will show you around the building because he likes you. And then what you do is you do this thing called a condo wizard and put the name of that condo on that thing. And this was 20 years ago.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. And this agent got to the point where she was earning, without a whole lot of trouble, 40 or 50,000 a year from that condo building. It had 160 units in it. And all she did every month was send out a little letter that said, Unit 407 is on the market for this. Not listed with me, it's listed with someone else. And Unit 206 sold for this. And they're putting a new gas line by the pool, and have a nice week. Right? So how is that any different than what the girl today with the same condo building is talking about? And now she's got video where she can target everybody in that building to get
and they know her because she's been in there forever too.
No, this is a different agent.
Oh,
the other agent left.
We got dog situations.
Oh, he's awake now.
Huh?
He's awake now.
Okay, he's awake. What do we got? So the similarity of the old 20 years ago, Jessica, and now?
Yep.
And how different is that 108, 160 unit building from if we take every one of the units and put them next to each other on vacant lots? They're called houses. But when you go from lot to lot, you get wet in the rain, right?
Yep.
In the condo, once you get in the place, no
dry.
other agents could get in because they don't have the code.
Right.
Nobody else can put their sign on the balcony because there's no signs allowed.
Yep.
So once you're in that building, you own that building, as long as you keep on doing what you started doing.
Right.
Which is what you're not doing now, what you're going to do, what you're going to repeat to everyone that's watching right now on what you're going to do for the next quarter.
Yep.
Which is?
Make a video once a week, target a neighborhood, pick a neighborhood, and get to know it better than the people who live there.
And that works with your primary aim because that's what your primary aim said.
Yep.
Did it say YouTube famous? You wanted to be YouTube famous?
No, but we should add that in there.
Be famous.
YouTube famous. Insta famous.
And are you going to have Clay featured in your videos?
He's a little rambunctious, so I don't know. You guys tell me, do you want Clay in all my videos?
Does anybody is anybody paying more attention to the dog than they are to the video? Absolutely. That's what we do. We pay more
No one
attention
heard
to
what
that.
we said. They were just watching Clay. Right?
So you didn't mention that Clay looks very much like your boyfriend.
Yeah, we're all related, right, Clay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Has the same color hair.
Yep.
The
My
same
boyfriend is
beard.
also a ginger, so they match each other. We laugh. He's Clay Houston when he's bad, and he's Clay Beggins when he's good. And Zach's not here to stop me from saying that. So.
And how old is he?
Clay is 15 weeks old today.
Oh, it's his birthday.
Yep, it's his weekly birthday. And he's 24 pounds.
Missing a couple of teeth.
Missing a couple of teeth. His 2 front teeth are missing. He's a Vizsla, for those of you who are watching. And Clay has been on my dream board for almost all of 2018, and he finally came home in November.
So you purchased Clay before he was even thought of?
Yes, but we adopted him. No, we did. We got him from a breeder. We're bad people. We buy dogs. It's fine. He's beautiful. I
What's
want
bad
the
about
Vizsla. Well, people will judge us. People are going to judge me on here, but that's okay. He's
Why,
my
for
baby.
buying a dog
Uh-huh.
rather than what?
Well, you know, millennials adopt dogs. And then there's me.
Clay,
I wanted a Vizsla really bad. So we took him home, and we're taking good care of him.
so, but you actually purchased him before he was started,
Born. Yes.
which is how long ago?
So I started talking to the breeder in February of 2018, and I put a deposit down for him in August, and he was born in September.
How
And then
long?
we paid the rest of it.
How
when we
long
picked
until
him up.
after he was born till you could take him home?
8 weeks. So he was born on September 25th. That's his birthday. And he came home on November 21st.
And where was he born?
Lakeland, Plant City area.
In Plant City.
Yep.
And your mom has his sister.
Yes, my mom has his sister, Chloe.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
So everyone thinks that I got 2 dogs, but no, one is mine and one's my mom's, and they get to see each other 4 or 5 times a week, and they wear each other out. They play really hard as puppies, and he bites everything, and we're working on potty training, and he sleeps on my head, so that's fun.
Okay, do you realize that you can be like the rock star of real estate if you can teach farming to other people on a millennial level?
I hope so.
And you can capitalize your business by creating professional videos and teaching people how to do unprofessional videos, because sometimes people watch the unprofessional ones more than the professional ones. But to send to their buddies, they want their ego involved.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they want the nice one about how pretty the marina area is in Tampa and why Tampa is better than St. Pete and all the other stuff. And you said that one of our agents is using a dog as a partner in videos.
Right. Yeah. Mike Southward is using his
He's
Chihuahua.
got a little chihuahua.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah,
He's so good. He just sits on the table and hangs out.
Yeah.
Clay
Well, what's
doesn't
your
sit
dog?
on tables.
Clay's doing fine.
Gotta get him in nap time.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
This was a good little nap time for him.
Yeah, he's done.
Ready to go.
You ready to
Ready
party?
go.
Okay, we're done. Thank you, Jessica, for being my guest, and you're going to be my guest
Thanks
the
for having me.
last week of the first week of April, because
First
I
week
want to
in
make
April.
sure that
we can
last
celebrate our
video-
birthdays together.
Yes.
Yep.
The
It'll
la-
be a birthday episode.
yeah. So that means that you got 12 videos to do
Yes.
in an
That seems
area to
daunting.
pick.
I know. Bum, bum, bum.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
And you can do this for 400 agents, right?
All at the same time.
So you'll have to have 27
Yeah.
people working for you.
Yes, I'll do it. I'll do it for you guys because I love working for y'all. So cool.
Okay. Thank you all
Happy
and have a
Tuesday.
great week.
Tuesday. What day is it?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
See you guys.